Greetings, Masandawana. We are back with an installment of the Yellow Corner. And this time we bring you the big one, a Category A game as we host Kaizer Chiefs on Wednesday afternoon. Sean Tuanatazio.
Ezo.
How are you?
I'm not doing
I'm good, man. I saw you playing at Moses Mabhida on Sunday. Oshapa, the step over, Otrepa, Boloska, Neymar. Maybe he's one silent.
I'm not brother saying, man.
Yeah, guys. We normally wait for what do you call this? The press conferences more so the big games. So we normally record after the press conferences. But due to a horrible load shedding schedule, it was going to be difficult to record after the press conference here Sundowns because it's actually happening an hour before an hour from now, like the time we start we record. So it would have been difficult to shoot this preview after that press conference. So there will be there might be things that we might talk about, and then later on the coach hub, maybe guys attend player told he's not available, and we've spoken about him playing. So apologies on that. It's beyond our control. Rabs, thoughts on our first game of the season?
I think it was a decent performance because of we have to consider that it was our first game of the season with the new system that is implemented. So I think the guys did very well, but I'm disappointed because of we failed to keep a clean sheet and also the red card that River got in the second half. But overall, I think it was a decent performance that is able to earn us 3 points.
Yeah, no. Speaking of that performance, I got the scoreline correct. I also got the goal scorers correct. So I'm leading you in that aspect, yeah, Rona, this season. But yeah, I think it was that being our first game of the season, a competitive game, a game of consequence. I think it was a good performance. I think there's not really much to complain about. I was more surprised by the system or the setup than anything, because it was a box, a middle field, but it's not as how we thought it would be. It was. I was surprised with AB coming into the box, forming a part of that box. It looked like it was it's a very offensive setup in terms of in our build-up phase. It looks like Roland is going for it, man, in terms of how he wants us to play on the front foot and be offensive. Because if you look at it, man, it looked more like a 2-2-2-4 or a 2-4-4, a 2-4-4 system, and yeah, it's looking really, really good, man. It's you can tell on it's still in its teething phase. You can tell or I think we're going to create and score a lot of goals this season, but at the same time, I think if we play against teams that have pace and a good in transition, they might hit us, which is something I'll talk about earlier on. Perhaps we won't be playing go Loftus until sometime October. Loftus had become our permanent home stadium for the last a few 2-3 seasons. We no longer alternated between Yonale, Lucas Masterpieces, but for the next few months we'll be using Lucas Masterpieces Moripe Stadium. Will playing our home games there have any negative impact on how we play and the results?
But I think if the pitch it is suitable for us to play our kind of football that we normally play, I think it will affect how we normally play, because of obviously for Sundowns to play the kind of football that we play every single game, we need a good pitch. You look at the pitch here, Polokwane Stadium. You need those kind of pitch or Sundowns to play their a fluid football, and also it speaks to the size of the pitch. I think with the system, the system that we are mostly likely to play going forward, I think it needs a proper or a biganyana pitch so that we are able to stretch the opposition. So I think Lucas Masterpieces Moripe will force us to play a little bit narrow because of the size of the pitch, and there'll be too much congestion in the middle. So I think it might affect us because of we don't know how is the pitch in terms of the grass, and also the size of the pitch is too small for the football that we are likely to play going forward, or the football that we played against Skukun.
Yes, it's very funny how we stopped playing. One of the reasons behind we stopped playing at that stadium, I'll tell you after we shoot, but it had to do with the totally special project. But yeah, I think it's so it's 50-50, man. I think big players, quality players adjust to any situation. But at the same time, if you listen to the interview, yeah, Radio 2000, yeah, Thabiso Msiale, Ulani, Coach Ulani emphasized the importance, yeah, quality pitches, playing on quality pitches. He spoke about the pitches that they used when they were in Holland, So, yeah, I'm a bit worried ka pitch stating SFing. So, fingers crossed for it's in a good state. Perhaps we're playing Chiefs, like we said earlier on. They hired or they made permanent. They made that their permanent coach. Were you surprised by this appointment? Because now I really was. I didn't see it coming, and I don't think a lot of journalists also saw it coming. You look at the fact that he's not tried and tested at a senior level. He hasn't. You can't say he's been coaching in the PSL like the likes of Gavin Hunt, the likes of Ito Msimani. So he's very experienced. He's well versed in when it comes to development. He was their head of technical and youth development. So I don't know, man. I don't know how this will work for Bona, because it's a surprising appointment, man. Hey, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think I was also surprised considering the history that Mlifinteki has in the PSL. I think the experience, you compare him with a lot of coaches in the PSL. I think now the experience that he has, like it's man. And also he spent most of his career in junior ranks on development side, and now you're in a different league, and also you're coaching Kaizer Chiefs, a team that wants to win a trophy this season, and there's a lot of pressure because of Mlifinteki has to deliver. Sundowns is doing well. Pirates last season they won 2 trophies, so it adds a lot of pressure to Kaizer Chiefs. So I think it was a brave decision from the Chiefs management, and I hope they know what they are doing.
I thought you were about to say, I hope they do well and he succeeds. I was going to punch you via Zoom if you had said that, man. Do you think, Corey, Kaizer Chiefs will ever go back to what they used to be in terms of winning trophies?
Not anytime soon, not in 2 seasons. I think it will take more than 2 seasons because of you look at the squad that they have, the pedigree. Not everyone in their squad or in their starting lineup knows how to win. Like he has that winning experience. It's only Kune go setting a Kaizer Chiefs who has tasted the league title, who knows how to win a league title. So for this current squad, I think it will be difficult for them to win a trophy. And I think the Chiefs problem started a while back. I think it started when they were competing, when Stuart Baxter was there, Kanakwan, when they won league and they were Pizzo was challenging them. I think at that moment it was the right time for them to develop a new team. I think it was important to develop a new team over the team that is currently doing well. You don't wait for the team to struggle and then you introduce a new team or you try to develop a new team. I think if they introduced a new team at that moment, I think right now we'll be telling a different story. But they waited for the team to struggle first. Then that's when they were forced, because of the circumstances, to build a new team.
That's a great point. They're doing exactly what a certain team that I support in Europe. They did actually what a certain team that I support in Europe did. We're at the top, and instead of freshening the team, they waited and waited and waited. And I think for them to get back to their glory days of winning trophies, they need a sugar daddy. I think that's their only way out. Because I think the gap between Bona, the Sundowns, and Pirates is widening. I think you look at how they navigate through the transfer market, and you look at the moves that Pirates and Sundowns made, like I think more so the gap between Bona and Sundowns, it's wide. It's oceans apart, So I think their only way out is maybe the Mutawums relinquishing their powers and then them finding a Saudi owner or something like that, man. Someone Mutwa oil and who can invest in that team. That's their only way out. Because I think if they can find that, they can maybe sort out their football, everything that has that's football related. Yeah. What can we expect from Chiefs on Wednesday? I will go first. I think I was surprised at how high they were against Chippa United. The high line that they played against Chippa United. Do I think or they will do the same against Sundowns? I highly doubt it. I would be really shocked if they are as high as they were. I think they will drop a few meters back. And then Mtseki spoke about their lack of penetration. Yeah, they played, but they never, went through cheaper to create a lot of goal scoring opportunities. I do not see it changing if he goes the lineup that he went with. I think they might be. I actually believe he will make a few changes more so in attack. I mean, I think the only way Chiefs can hurt us is by playing in transition, and in them playing in transition, having pacey players in, maybe bringing on Dupree, bringing on Botswane, and then moving Saile centrally. So maybe have Dupree on the left, Botswane on the right, and then Saile centrally. But the thing is, yes, they might get behind us. Can they punish us after getting behind us? That's another story. I mean, you look at in their last 5 games, the league last season, they only got 2 goals. In their last 3 games, 2 of those games being the friendly away in Botswana and Tanzania. They've scored a goal in those 3 games. So I think, yeah, up front, they might get behind us, but the finishing might be the one thing that lets them down. And another thing that I saw, gaming Bonale Chiba, is that they didn't press high. They didn't press high at all. They just looked to shut down the passing lanes, which is something that I think they will look into doing against Sundowns. Because if you're not going to press against a cheaper who don't have the same quality as Sundowns, there is no way you're going to press a team of Sundowns' standard and not thinking risk getting Sundowns beating the press and you are short in numbers. Ne? And going back to the point that I made, yeah, maybe them using the pace. Ne? And the reason I think that could work for them is because our Sundowns set up, like we set up in a very offensive way, like we said, it's 2-2-2-4. So you can imagine if they win the ball and in transition they played over behind us, man, the pace, they can hurt us in that aspect. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think their approach would be quite simple and straightforward. Last season, Chiefs conceded a couple of goals from the mistakes that occurred in their defense. The likes of Dove getting dispossessed and the team scoring, and also when we played them in Loftus first field, the mistake that happened between Ngezana, Quinika, and Voma was in goal in that game. So I think in this game they will try to keep it simple. If they sense danger from Mamelodi Sundowns, just kick it forward to avoid any mistakes that will lead into goal. Because if they make a mistake and we scored an early goal, I think it will affect them during the game because we don't want to concede an early goal. And also, they have a new centre back pairing, which is Ditlopo and Musimango. So they are the new guys in that crucial position. So it will be tricky for them because of Sanders also they like to make those counter presses, and Shanti has to know his position when the team has the ball and when team doesn't have the ball. You look at the goal that they considered against Mamelodi Sundowns in FNB. It came from Shanti's position on the left side and it forced Matt to go and cover for him. And as soon as Matt left his position to go to Shanti's position, that's where the ball was played and Maema was able to bury that goal. So I think he needs to know his position when they have the ball and when they don't have the ball. And in this game against Mamelodi Sundowns, I think a player like Dantane will suit him because of his intelligence and his ability to score. I think in one of the season it kept on seat. He was a top goal scorer. So you need someone who can score and create because I think the young Nob, as much as he's good, but he has a lot of possession in areas where he won't hurt the opposition. He likes to drop too deep and collect the ball. And as in number 10, you look at his distance between Yena and Chivaviru, it was quite huge. So you ask yourself for creativity. It was a guy if I drop that deep. You spoke about the pace that they have up front. I think a guy like Dupria or Potan, I think this game will suit them better because of if they create those counter-attack situations, they know that they have the speed. But you don't only need the speed, you also need the intelligence of the player so that they know what to do in this position and also have that good decision making up front.
Great point, man. Man. I think both of us, he's our favorite player at Chiefs. You, I saw a lot of people even talking about it, chatting about it on Twitter after a game. Will he reach his potential at Chiefs? Bafana Babomshini Mbu. They are talented young boys, man. I think the fact that they are playing more teaming, that's, how do I put this? That is not this. that has not been as successful as, say, Sundowns, where the winning mentality is not really there. At Sundowns, these boys know the pressure of winning. They understand, yes, I'm a youngster, but I'm walking into a dressing room where the winning mentality is up there. You at every day at training, you have to bring your A game. You can't drop your level. So you feel sorry for these boys, because I think both of them, do, if they were playing in Sundowns, I don't think, maybe they might not be regular, but their game, you'd see their game elevating with every chance they get. So yeah, I think they will line up the same way as they did 4-2-3-1, the same way as they did against Chipa. I think they will make a few changes. I think they'll have their back five will be the same in Peterson, Frosler, Msimanga, Ditlogwe, and Shanti, and then they'll have Castillo and Matt, and then have Danzani, Motene, and then Potsani on the right, and then Dupree on the left, and then move the very skillful Saile central. Omupoditse sign ke cheaper. Hanapalama bolo no. Let's talk about Sundowns, Raps. Do we, before we talk about how we can have head chiefs, do we revert to the diamond system now that the most important player, this system that we playing is suspended in the ever so brilliant Rivaldo Coetzee, football purist, man. Copa Mundial, the best football boot ever produced. So him using that boot, it tells you everything you need to know about his brilliance. Do we revert to the 4-4-2 diamond, or we stick to the system that we played on Friday?
I know. That is a tough one. I think because of Rulani is that coach that believes he will do it his own way, and even if he doesn't have maybe the personnel, but he sticks to his own way. So I think Rulani will be brave and stick to the formation that we played against Kukun.
I think so. That's one point of looking at it, and I think he will stick to the same system. I think we will take a risk and play Batusi Obas, because in terms of player profile, he's the closest we have to profile of someone like Riva, and he's played center back, and I think the problem is that the integration high teaming. I mean, he only joined the team last week, so he didn't go to preseason with the team and stuff like that. So that might be the only issue. But apart from that, he has the capabilities to play in that system. And I think because it's early in the season, Gulani will say, I'm taking this risk. If this happens at the last two games, not the first two games of the season, the last two games of the season, and River has been playing constantly there, and then you decide to bring someone in such an important game, it's a bigger risk. In this game, you can drop points and still make them up, in future. So I think Rulani will risk it and play Batusi more. What do you expect from Sundowns on Wednesday? Wait, before you start, I feel like you wanted to say something.
Remember when we signed, I think it was Maboe, we signed him on Thursday, and Saturday against Kaizer Chiefs, he started the match. So I think maybe it will be a similar situation where Rulani takes that risk and starts Ubas. And it's not that Ubas is a poor player or is not capable of delivering at Mamelodi Sundowns, but the issue that you raised there, he wasn't part of the preseason, and in the preseason we spent more time practicing this new system. So I think it won't be as fluid as River, because of River spent a lot of time with the team. And also it looks like this system, it is centered around him. So I think that might be a smaller disadvantage if we play Obas, but he's a good player. He can adjust to that position. And considering the team that we are playing, the pressure that you said, the team that doesn't like to high press the opponent. So that means he will have that a little bit freedom, and he won't be surrounded by a lot of opponents trying to dispossess him for position.
And then what do you expect from Sundowns?
I think we first of all we need to keep the clean sheet. You spoke about them not applying pressure on the last third, trying to regain a position high up in the pitch. I think it will give us the time and space to have those proper build-up schemes. That means we can create chances from our own build-ups. And we spoke about the new formation having players wide and central. I think this formation that we are playing currently, we have a good number of players central, and also we have width. That means there's variety of play. We can penetrate through the middle, or we can use the width to create chances. And we need a guy that can play the diagonal ball. I think River against Kukune, there are a couple of diagonal balls that he played, and those created chances for us because of we had a Costa on the right who gave us width, and second half we had Tapelo Maseko on the left who gave us width. So I think that's how we might punish Kaizer Chiefs. And I looked at, I didn't have I wasn't able to watch the first half against Kukune, but I managed to watch the second half. And the second half, that's where Maseko was introduced. And what I've observed is that having a player who plays too wide on the line, it confuses the left back and the right back of the opposition. A guy like Lucas, he was very confused whether to go to the line and close Maseko or to remain on his position to wait for Maseko to come at him. And as soon as he went down the line to close Maseko, it left a huge space between him and Jima, who was playing as a right center back. And I think a guy like Zwane or Mayema, who played second half, should have attacked that space, because of there was a lot of space where we could have capitalized and created chances. And this system allows us to play crosses on the box. I think last season we didn't have a width to play the crosses, and I think with the ability that Shalulile has to score from headers, I think he will get more goals this season because of it doesn't rely on the team penetrating through the center. Also, the team can attack using the width. And what impressed me, or what I liked also about this formation, is that Mudau doesn't overlap, because of we know that Mudau, once he goes forward, we know what is likely to happen because of his delivering of crosses. So having a guy like Costa on the right who's more intelligent, who can cut in, who can cross the ball, I think it also gives us an advantage.
You know, when you talk about the cross, some Dawa, I still have nightmares from the first leg, MTN 8 semi-final Orlando. You know how we planned properly in terms of overloading the left and then isolating and then shifting the ball to his right when he had space and he would cross side that day. But yeah, overall, Koliso is a very good player, man.
Yeah.
So you spoke a lot, the left hand side, ne? And how having Tapelo close to the line had space more between the right back and the right center back. I think that's the plan, this season. I think the plan, Rulani this season, it's clear. The plan to have a qualitative and a numerical superiority on the left. Even if the first half, if you had to watch the first half, how we shaped. Yes, Debza was part of the box on the left side, but he was slightly to the left than central. So it was Debza, Mudiba, and then Zwane trying to occupy that space more. So it was the three of them. And I think because that's the plan, to use that channel Egamo left in, and we couldn't use it in terms of the quality Gamol. Hence, it showed more when we put on Capello. The second half, you could see that qualitative superiority that Rulani was looking for. Perhaps the most important thing for now, this system, it's counter pressing, because you look at the number of players that we have offensively at this system. If we don't counter press properly, we will get hurt. We need to win the ball as high as possible so that we avoid counter attacks. So counter pressing is very important at this system. We need to win the ball, because, and the thing is, counter pressing, it will take time for someone like Ribeiro to understand how quickly we need to win the ball. Because more interviewing highly the club, he spoke about, they asked him on what aspect he still needs to improve. He mentioned defending. So we defend from the front door in our Sundowns. And, specialists are counter pressing club. If you listen to him, after the games at Liverpool presses, the one thing that he mentioned the most, he's happy with Nunes scoring the goal for Liverpool, but the fact that we don't counter press the way we do, the way we do when we have Gakpo, he laments it in turn. So as good as you are offensively, but in defense, we also need to have you that good. I think perhaps this season we are going to create or give a lot of tactical fouls. I think we'll have the most we'll have more than double anyone the tactical fouls. Because when you lose the ball, you need to create quickly in terms of not allowing the opponents to play behind you, which is something Debza was really lucky not to get a yellow card first half. I think he had into the tactical fouls early in the first half. And you look at Manchester City, it annoys me, but they specialize in it. Rodri Arsenal fans were complaining he's not getting booked. So Leona, we're going to do the same. We lose the ball, you need to foul, So, but we need to be smart about it, because I can't have the same player the foul in consecutive fouls. You need to share the fouls amongst us, And another thing that surprised me is that we played a lot of short corners in that game. We had a total of 6 corners, and we played, I think, 4 of them short. And I think there's a plan behind that. And it's you obviously try to destabilize the shape of how the team defends the corner by playing it short. You hope they move up, and then you play deep. You play it to the last pole and hope someone comes from a deep onside position and Ayeds and then Agore from the channel. So those are the things that I expect to see again against Chiefs. Your lineup?
And before going to the lineup, speaking about corners, I looked at this Kaizer Chiefs defense. Their height, man, they don't have the height that they normally had in the previous seasons. So I think we should cause some threat from the set pieces and the corners, because of Msimango is not that tall.
Msimango is tall. Msimango is tall. He's probably my height, man. He's tall, Mfanole. He's tall. I didn't want to dispute your point, because we're running out of time. Yeah. But he's really tall, Msimango, man.
Yeah, no, I think as much as he's tall, like you're saying, but we have enough height, or we can compete in the set pieces and get something out of crosses as well.
Your lineup?
I'll keep the same lineup that played against Kukune. Obviously, I'll replace Gautier with Baptiste Ubas, and I'll start Tapelo Maseko, out bench Maposa Mudiba.
So you playing this system, your box, or you still playing diamond?
I'm remaining with the box.
Okay, well, my lineup. It's Williams, and then the two in front of him will be Mudau and Libusa, and then the two in front of that two, I'll have Obas and AB, and then the two in front of that two will be Allende and Mokoena, and then I think Neo will start ahead of Mudiba. I think the plan will be to get Maseko running at them second half. So my front four will be Mayema, Zwane, Shalvin Ribeiro. Score?
I think we'll win 3-1.
Okay, who's scoring?
Shalule will score, Msheshe will score, and I think one between AB and Lebusa will also score.
Okay, I'm going 3-0. I'm going for Zwane, Shalulile, and Ribeiro. Perhaps we have less than 1 minute and 30 seconds left. How important is Allende Raps to this Sundowns team?
I think is very important. And a player like Allende, you won't get numbers from him in terms of the goal contribution, the assist, and the goals, but he offers something different. And in a season back, Pep spoke about what Silva offers the team. He doesn't give you goals, but he gives you something that any other player doesn't have in the team. So I think Allende gives us that in the team.
That boy is something else, man. That boy is a cheat code. That boy is difficult. It's impossible to assign someone to mark him because you look at the heat map that I'll put up, how where he is in attack when we have the ball. Like he's all over the place. And the fact that he has the most touches in the games of Sundowns than anyone, it tells you everything about him. You know, he had 100 touches, which was the most in that match. Yes, Kukune. So he really is important. It's said that we can't delve much into it, but yeah, guys, thank you for watching. Please continue subscribing, and next time you see us, will be on Thursday when we bring you the preview at the MTN 8 match against Swallows. Until then, sharp sharp Masandawana, sharp sharp Nduish.
Shosho Masana, sharp sharp.